There are many historical moments in media here and there. Some great, some grand, some plain darn weird, and some oh so sad. This falls into the plain darn weird and oh so sad flick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2004's Home on the Range, presented by Walt Disney Studios. Okay,
Animation Studios specifically.
there is a bit of history behind this. A lot of it sad, and some of it miscomprehended. Okay,
Yeah.
A lot of people remember this as the film that caused the end of the Disney Animation's theatrical run of 2D hand-drawn animated films. Unfortunately, that is not the case here. In fact, it goes right under the TV trope of misblamed here. No, this is not what caused 2D hand-drawn films from Disney to putter out. This is more so a byproduct, a victim of it. No, what we really have to blame is one of my favorite culprits, Disney's own hubris and their refusal to admit when things are their own goddamn fault. Allow me.
Yeah.
Let's turn back the clock a bit. We all remember the Renaissance era that started in 1989 with Little Mermaid. Disney were on top of the world with that Renaissance era. That is, until former head of Disney, Jeffrey Katzenberg, kind of got ousted from the company and then founded his own company, DreamWorks, to put the hurt on Disney. And needless to say, as much as it was an idea out of vengeance, he was frighteningly effective at it. He matched wits with Bug's Life with ants, but of course, everyone loves to talk about the big crowd pleaser that was Shrek of the time. Shrek would go on to spur a lot, and I do mean a lot of people playing Follow the Leader, and Disney themselves would be no different here and there. Disney, meanwhile, unfortunately, starting with 1999, with their Fantasia 2000 flick, started releasing kind of either good or mediocre films. There was Fantasia 2000, which is a boatload of controversy from what I've heard. There was Dinosaur 2000, which I like, and Emperor's New Groove also in 2000. They were good, but they weren't exactly to the same grades of good that the Renaissance was famous for. Then Atlantis, The Lost Empire came out, that flipping bombed. Lilo and Stitch is a good movie, but people kind of grew to hate it because, well, Disney were putting Stitch in everything, and that caused a bit of hype backlash here and there. And let's talk about 2002 with Treasure Planet here and there.
Well, Lilo and Stitch also came out in 2002.
Yeah, but Treasure Planet was unfortunately the big bomb. That said, I doubt that has anything to do with the quality of the movie because, as everyone and their mother knows, the movie was marketed horribly. Disney did not do their best to support the project despite having a sequel in mind for it. But most importantly, Disney thought that they were big enough to go head-to-head with the then upcoming at the time film series, Harry Potter. Sure hope they won't repeat that mistake again. So, yeah, Treasure Planet came and got wailed on, and then after that was Brother Bear. Enough said.
It was a movie.
So, yeah, Disney didn't stop to think, hey, maybe we should, stop rushing our movies, or maybe put a better focus on quality here and there while retaining the 2D hand-drawn animation technique. Instead thought, nah, let's play Follow the Leader, because, well, as anyone knows, Chicken Little was pretty much Michael Eisner trying to match wits with Jeffrey Katzenberg's Shrek by making Chicken Little. But we're not here to talk about Chicken Little. What about Home on the Range? Home on the Range was unfortunately a movie that got rushed. You remember how I mentioned in our Little Mermaid Ariel Beginnings commentary about how that movie had the pressure of being the last ever direct-to-video sequel? Home on the Range had a similar, if not even worse, pressure here. Now, to be fair, it has been well documented that the team were trying their hardest with Home on the Range, but unfortunately, it fell into that stock of it got rushed badly, and what we got was the watered down and pretty bad film overall. Hey, Dwibs, believe it or not, Home on the Range started off as being a plot based off of the Pied Piper.
Well, I'm not sure how Disney could take a story like that and make it kid friendly.
Apparently,
So-
Michael Eisner
they did
agreed
that-
with
well,
you.
oh, come on, though. They did that with the Silly Symphony that I showed you that one time.
It's
There was a difference between Silly Symphony and a man committing mass genocide and trapping kids in a mountain.
Yeah, just when you mentioned that, Michael Eisner agrees with you. So it sort of went through a lot, and I do mean a lot of redraws here and there. One of which would make it a supernatural western about an undead cowboy who was cattle rustling here. It eventually ended with this particular picture here. Now,
Yes, 2004's Home on the Range. But should we get started?
Yeah,
on the
yes,
film?
please.
yes. Now that we've gotten the history out of the way, let us see the end result. So, start on the ever-custom Disney logo for this one in 3, 2, 1, click. So,
The interesting thing is that the filmmakers actually did express that they wanted to kind of try to make a movie that was more akin to the old Disney movies that you would see like from eras like in the 50s, and it shows that they completely missed that some things should stay in the 50s.
now, to their... Now, okay, if I can give this movie one credit, Alan Menken returns with yet another score and soundtrack, and it's actually not a bad one. Not his most memorable one, but it's one that's fine.
The soundtrack is fine. It's just that, and considering the movie he has to work with, I don't blame him for making what is not exactly his best work.
What? Yeah,
What point is he tried?
Like I've said, this movie tends to be the focus of blame for supposedly ending Disney's 2D animated streak, but no, that is actually pretty far from the truth. The writing was on the wall as early as 1999, unfortunately.
Remember, everybody, Alan Menken is a Broadway musical songwriter. Like AKA, he uses the story to create songs, and to try to get him to make this is not even a musical for the record. This is instead it's just got Alan Menken to write songs in that Tarzan Brother Bear style, and I don't really know why, because that's not really the kind of music Alan Menken makes. So
Also, oh boy, so we have Roseanne Barr as a cow.
Yikes!
I mean,
That's,
well, considering what we've heard about her recently, her being a cow is quite fitting.
Basically,
this movie predicted the future.
Basically, folks, Roseanne Barr, for those who don't know, is an actress who likes to use her weight for a lot of jokes here and there. That said, though, okay, so she was a fine enough comedian. Then, as of recent time, as early as 2016, she did some rather unsavory things that were so bad that she got booted off of the revival of her own show, to the point where they actually made a spin-off show involving every character but hers, only because they didn't want all the other employees of the show to pretty much get screwed over by her getting pulled off of the Roseanne show.
Yeah, do you know who I feel sorry for?
Randy Quaid.
No. Chris Buck. He was a supervising animator for this character, so basically he had to listen to Roseanne Barr's voice while working on this thing.
That too.
So yeah.
Yeah, and you can see already, like when you look at the art style that this movie is using, you can tell they're trying to replicate the style of those classic shorts that Disney would make, like the shorts that will later on to become movies, like I forgot the name. Those compilation
Make Mine Music.
Make Mine Music. That's it. So it's definitely trying to be reminiscent of that old art style. And while I do appreciate a movie that tries to be a throwback to that particularly. This movie completely misses the style. Like, it only imitates the look, but not the soul, really.
I'm gonna give this movie credit and say that I actually do like the animation for the most part, except I do feel like there is a degree...
I like the animation, it doesn't like the rest of it. That's the problem. It imitates the look, not the soul. That's what I said.
Oh, well, it sounded like you were talking about the animation as a whole, but...
Oh, no, the look is fine. I don't have a problem with the animation. The animation is... it's not the best of this particular set of animators I've made, definitely, but it's for what they're trying to do. It looks fine. Remember the shorts that this movie is paying homage to were already made with that lower post World War II budget that the Walt Disney company had at the time. So the lower quality animation is actually intentional. You know, they're trying to replicate that lower that mid-tier quality look.
Okay, on the subject of some criticism of one of the pieces of criticism this film gets, i.e., its apparent laziness.
Judy.
More specifically, nostalgia critics' take on this movie. The directors didn't take too kindly to that particular review of the movie. John Sanford, one of the co-directors, quoting off TV tropes here, he saw it as an obnoxious and taking umbrage at the review, calling the film a half-assed on creative effort, saying he'd beat the ever-loving shit out of Doug if he ever found him. Which is
not professional.
Which is, incredibly mature from a professional
not just
film
that,
director.
Publicly declare that you will physically assault someone if you see him in the street. That's totally not going to whatever. Also,
and what the other director said is no better.
Oh really? Go ahead.
Will Finn. Here's what he said. Yes, I love it when people live stream Home on the Range and tweet comments. Good or bad, it's fun. Except you, nostalgia critic. You could go fuck yourself, you unfunny douche nozzle. My issue was the incredibly abrasive tone of his reviews. Funny considering your abrasive tone just then, sir.
Wow.
And in particular, when he accused the crew of Home on the Range of laziness. You can say what you want about the movie, it's deeply flawed, but our crew is anything but lazy. I won't stand for that.
Hold on, Will. If you know the movie is deeply flawed, then how come you never did anything about that when you were making it?
Okay.
And also, it's also as rich of you calling the tone of his review abrasive, considering you literally just called that guy a douche nozzle and telling him to go fuck himself.
Wow, directors, thin skin much? Seriously?
Finn Skin, because his last name is Finn.
Yeah, seriously, like
died.
If you can't handle criticism, why are you working in the entertainment industry at all?
Okay.
Like, seriously.
Okay, now allow me to look at it from both sides of the fence here and there. On the one hand, oh god, yeah, it's a Roseanne Barr joke, all right.
Not just that, but look, Miss Stench, please, you have to learn that sometimes it's a good thing to say no when someone pitches you a movie.
Well, Pedro, I'm sure.
You know that, right?
I'm sure in later years she'll totally be better. Between Cats and freaking Artemis Fowl. So, anyway,
Judy, honey, no is an option.
Oh,
except this movie has the name Disney on it, so, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, she could say no, but why would she?
No. Remember, Leonardo DiCaprio said no to Kevin Feige. You know, because so it's not like actors can say no to big companies. They can. They're just lazy. They don't care.
Oh, get it? She showed off her udder, which is pretty much the cow's equivalent to a breast.
Well, I didn't say she couldn't. I just said, like, you know, she probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
We've got discredited comedian Judi Dench and Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly.
You know how sad it is that her best work at this time that this movie was made was the Chucky sequels. And I love the Chucky sequels, but that's exactly the thing. That was the highlight of her career at this time.
Yeah, she has a much better career nowadays, you know, between the more modern Chucky films. Well, not the most modern one, but the 2017 one, which she came back for, and other stuff. So, Jennifer Tilly, great actress, but she's also a professional poker player. Feel free to make any jokes about her losing a bet.
Is that how she ended up in this movie? She bet a contract on something and lost it to be in this film.
Maybe.
But gee, Jova, what exactly is the story of this film?
Oh, yeah, it's about to come rearing up eventually.
Yeah, okay, I'm not saying the animation's lazy. I just think the story is incredibly generic.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
we're quite a few minutes into this, and we don't really know what this movie is about exactly.
Well, we're going to find out now, actually.
Well, let's face it, Webs. The only reason you say that is because you're an unfunny douche nozzle. I mean,
okay. Okay, I'm going to play both sides of the argument on that one. To the director's credit, working on this film was revealed to have been a pretty strenuous time for them. Again, Disney were rushing. Let me finish, Twibs. The Disney, in their typical fashion, were rushing the fudge out of them. We've already seen what can happen when Disney rushed someone with Incredibles 2, and that didn't turn out so well. Now, yes, they probably could have maybe have worked better under the circumstances, but there is some leeway to suggest that, you know, they were trying their best, but given the fact that Disney were rushing this because Disney wanted to rush to the CGI trend, so this one pretty much got scooted out the door. I'm not going to doubt that this movie could have been better under better circumstances. That said, the director should be more professional towards Doug on this matter here and there.
Yeah,
regardless.
It's like he's acting. It's like a less severe version of Josh Trank. You know, when it's like Josh Trank. You know, when he had problems with the studio, but he decided to act like a complete tool.
Let me put it like this. If I were in their shoes, I would have addressed it by saying, well, actually, we really did try very hard, and okay, assuming that they are at liberty to state that Disney were kind of the ones rushing them, like, it's pretty much common knowledge at this point.
They don't work there anymore, so that's why I think they can. They don't work there anymore.
Again, so if I were in their shoes, I would have just addressed that, you know, the circumstances were bad and they weren't lazy about it. But yeah, outright attacking someone just because they consider it lazy is bad, because, look, I had to do research about this to figure out that it was actually that bad. Most people probably would not have that luxury, and if the movie comes off as lazy, which unfortunately this movie does, people are going to make that assumption. But yeah, anyway,
it's not just that. It's like it doesn't. Will, what's the other guy's name?
Hold on. Right now, okay. So we have
John.
Anyways.
Oh yeah, plots. I forgot. We're watching a movie. Go ahead, Jova.
Basically, the plot is that the farmer here is out of money, which means the farm will either have to be sold, closed down, or she'll sell some of the livestock. And since she ain't having that because she treats them all as family, yeah, they're pretty much not looking to be in good straits. However, Maggie here has an idea here. See, as a show cow, she has some experience in winning prize money from, well, contests here and there. So
fucking convenient.
So her idea is basically go to the county fair and, well, win a contest.
Gotta love how even the cast of characters are not buying the premise.
Actually, Pedro, just the opposite. They're actually arguing that they listened to Maggie on this one. It's just Judi Dench's character, Mrs. Calloway, who's against it. Funny enough, they call her Mrs. Calloway, but they never hinted her having a husband.
Interesting.
As you can see, Mrs. Calloway is the prim and proper girly girl to Maggie's ferocious tomboy.
But yeah, Will and what's that? The other guy's name? Ron. Yeah, Ron, Will,
John.
John. Sorry, John, Will. Newsflash: you're not the first, and you will not be, and you were definitely not the last director to have worked really hard on something for people to then say it's bad or lazy. Get over it. That's part of being a filmmaker.
Okay, so let's go into problem number one of this. We've only barely been able to establish the home base of the movie, that being Little Patch of Heaven, and the main characters are already leaving it.
I thought you were gonna say problem number one is that this film's unfunny.
Yeah, okay, that really hasn't become too apparent at this point because they haven't gone too much in the jokes with it, but yeah, I guess to be fair, there was that boob joke.
I mean, you've got a professional comedian, a poker player, and a Shakespearean actress on your team. That should at least make for somewhat of a interesting dynamic, but
yeah.
Not with the scriptives.
Yeah. Also, Jova, Oh god, I mean, yeah, you know what we watched recently with Randy Quaid in it, Pluto Nash.
Oh god, true. He was in that.
And like, okay, this film wasn't as bad a flop as Pluto Nash, but it was still pretty bad.
Anyway,
as you can see, Alan Menken is going for that those like old school Western type songs.
Yeah.
Which I can agree. Yeah, that seem like a good fit. I will agree with that at least. And yeah, but already the first problem, the premise is incredibly weak. Again, this kind of
wait, hold on, joke. The idea is that Grace here, who's the blonde ditz, they literally called her yellow to point out that she's the ditz. She's not that good at singing. She's tone deaf.
Brilliant. See, you can even notice it there that the vultures are designed pretty much almost exactly like the vultures from Jungle Book. So yeah, you can tell this is trying to be a throwback to those years. But yeah, here's the problem already. The premise is incredibly thin. Now, here's the thing. Not necessarily that thin premises can't be good. It's just that, basically, sure, they're trying to do the Disney cool badass horse trope, but it's let's see what you think.
Yeah, this is Buck, played by Cuba Gooding Jr. Basically,
this is a lot more fun to see in more recent Disney stuff.
Yes.
Cuba, why can't you pick better films? For the record, Shira, he's in the Land Before Time sequel, one of the later ones.
Oh dear.
Why can't this man pick better movies? Why? You're so much better than this. Why, Joba? Why doesn't he get a better agent?
Although, like Shirai said, this is arguably more interesting to look at than some modern Disney stuff. Well, mainly the scenes with Buck in it. I'll just say this, Buck is kind of your typical jerk character who later becomes good here and there. And honestly, the movie might have been better if it was about him.
Sure, I'm going to have to throw you that counter-argument again, like that I did to you yesterday privately. Like, don't you find it sad that we have to compare this to the Mulan 2020 remake in order to, say something positive about it? That's kind of sad and pathetic.
It is sad. It is sad, but I'll raise you one other counter-argument, Pedro. Isn't it sad that modern Disney are to the point where we're comparing them to Home on the Range?
Oh, no, okay. Let me say something about that. You can say everything you want about the live-action Disney movies that they're making right now. They're all crap, and I completely agree with that. But I will disagree with you on the animation studios themselves. The animation studios themselves, both Pixar and Disney, are now doing just perfectly fine.
Relatively, anyway. Like, okay. Yeah, I guess Pixar is doing better with Onward, but let's not forget, before Onward, they pretty much were having...
Yeah, that is true. But ever since Pete Docter took over, things have been improving. So we recently greenlit finally the first ever Pixar movie directed by a woman. Finally.
How nice!
Not that John is out.
In regards to Disney Animation Studios, that is kind of your mileage may vary. Some people like the newer Disney animated stuff. Some people don't like it as much. Oh.
Well, if you're talking strictly about Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Frozen 2, I can see that. But the other movies have been universally liked, like Big Hero 6 and Zootopia and the like. So.
Well, again, talking about modern Disney as of now, like I said, if there's one thing I preferred about the Renaissance era, it felt more like a consistent step up, whereas modern Disney nowadays, and I do mean in the now, get it? One of them was a cross-dressing bloke. Cute. Modern Disney as of now is like a roller coaster in trends here and there. And even some of their better stuff, I will say, is kind of just fine, essentially. The problem is that Disney make way too much money these days, so they don't always have to pay mind to the bout of quality control, unfortunately. It's more so up to the studios themselves to try and maintain that quality.
Mm-hmm. I will argue both Pixar and Disney animation have been trying, not necessarily succeeding, depending on who you ask, of course, like you said, but at the very least, there is the effort from those two studios, at least.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. When I speak Disney, I'm talking about, the big overlord Disney of the whole thing.
Sure. I just think we need to also be remindful that there are multiple film studios. It's not just it's not just one big studio making all the movies,
Well, yeah. In fact, to bring it back to this movie, yeah, that's kind of again the case with this movie or other movies made around the time here. Like, the movies were not entirely the fault of the studio so much as it was Disney either hammering them to rushing through, or Disney getting frustrated that they weren't making as much moolah as CGI films were, so not realizing that, hey, maybe we should let them up the quality instead of, let's just hop on the CGI train. And we all know how that happened.
Going back to this movie, though, here's the big problem with this plot, because, we're still trying our best to find something that can get us the money to save the farm. Here's the big problem. First of all, the comedy is not exactly great. That's the first problem right there. This is a comedy, so...
Yeah, I actually got to mention this, Pedro. Yeah, you know how the plan was to enter a fair to win the prize money? Yeah, that plot point is pretty much now scooted off to the wayside for this new one.
I don't know, guys. This guy doesn't seem to be very trustworthy. What do you guys think?
No. This guy's actually a badass bounty hunter, hence his shifty look.
Sure. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Buck.
That's not how it works, Maggie. Oh, look at that! The amount of money needed for the bounty is just the right amount needed to save the farm.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've found our villain.
Oh boy. Okay.
We were shown him already, but only briefly.
Good news. The villain is the best thing of this movie. Bad news. How
exactly do you plan on catching this crook, you moron?
Cartoon antics.
Ah, of course. Okay, but yeah, that brings up my good point. Yeah, okay. First of all, okay, this is meant to be a cartoon comedy. That's it. Okay, fine. I'm cool with that. Hercules was just a comedy for the most part, and that was great. That's not the issue. The issue is that the comedic writing is not really great, to put it mildly. The jokes, I can tell that they're at the very least trying to do, slapstick, but the comedic timing is off. The writing humor is not exactly, it's not all that interesting. Let's just say the jokes, the verbal jokes. I mean,
I think Pedro just raised up a good point, though. Like, well, this film in particular is a culmination of not Disney's entire dork age of, say, the early 2000s to, like, the 2010s, but it kind of is, It kind of started with Hercules. Hercules was a good movie, yes, but it did rub some people a bit of an iffy way, given how, well, Hercules felt kind of cheaper compared to, some of the bigger scale Renaissance films here and there, and was focused a lot more on humor rather than the actual stakes here and there. Now, for the actual...
A position that I personally don't understand, because, I mean, why? They're not allowed to make comedies? I mean...
I think the idea was like, well, people kind of felt like the balance in comedy was a bit off here and there, especially for when the movie actually does try to be serious. Oh, boy.
I found that to be perfectly fine, to be honest. Hell, even Teo likes the movie, despite it being completely unfaithful to the mythology.
Rule number 1, do not mess with Mrs. Calloway's hat.
But yeah, here's another big problem with this movie. You see, guys, those early shorts were exactly that. Shorts. That's why they had thin premises, because, however, when you try to have this kind of premise into a nearly 90-minute movie, it doesn't work, because you don't have enough plot to really sustain this runtime. I mean, say what you want about the Winnie the Pooh 2011 movie, but that movie actually did have a point to it at the end, and it actually had good writing to justify its existence. This movie doesn't really have any of those.
Yes, free cows.
Thank you for that racist caricature. I mean, because it's you see, this is exactly the problem, Disney. Some stuff should stay in the 50s, you know.
I don't know if that was necessarily a racist caricature, but I am neither in the means nor in the position to really bring up here and there.
Well, I can tell Joe that it's very reminiscent of the kind of characters they used to make back in the old Mickey Mouse shorts. So it's not exactly doing them any favors. Even if it technically isn't, it definitely reminds you of it.
Gag, isn't it?
I'm sorry, what, Dibs?
This is a running gag, isn't it? I can't sing!
She's having fun, but still.
That's the problem. The problem is, her fun is harmful to my ears. So no, you're not allowed
I
to
like
have
that.
fun.
No wonder they were free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, actors in Hollywood, take DiCaprio's example. No is an option. You can't say
Again, it was Disney at the time. I'm not surprised they didn't say no. Like, okay, Pedro, to be honest, let's be honest here. At the time that this movie was in the making, would there really have been any way to tell that it was going to go on to be one of the most hated Disney movies of all time?
If this movie came out in the 90s, I would agree with you. But at the time that this was 2004. By this point, Pixar was the new hot kid in town.
That is the thing.
The Incredibles came out the same year.
That is the thing, though. We should probably take into account when production of this movie actually begun, especially considering all the development hell this movie apparently faced. I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that did begin in the 90s.
Even so, Miss Dench, read the script before you say yes, even if it's Disney. Come on, you're a Shakespeare-trained actress.
That's another thing.
Have some dignity, for Christ's sake.
Let's not forget also, Pedro, the script also went through several rewrites here and there, so for all we know, the script that they did read was a better one.
Oh, great. So I have an Amazing Spider-Man 2 situation now. Great.
Also, Pedro, to be fair, she's not the only Shakespearean actor/actress to read an obviously bad script. And
I'm aware of that, Dwebs. And that argument that I'm making applies to them too. I assure you.
That said,
the example I was gonna bring up was Kenneth Branagh agreed to be in Wild Wild West.
Oh, Kenneth Branagh has been in plenty of crap things. That's not even one. Same thing for Gary Oldman, of course.
Okay. Now we can talk about Judi Dench in this film, but if you really want to talk about Judi Dench not wanting to say no to something, Cats the movie.
Definitely.
Like, okay, regardless of the circumstances, you would have had to have known that Cats was gonna be a terrible movie.
Yeah,
unless they are
foul. I get the feeling Judy has gone senile, and by this point, and she can't really say she can tell good from bad anymore.
Doesn't she have worsening eyesight at this point?
I'm not aware of that. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. She can't read scripts, so she can't tell if the movie's going to be bad. Maybe that's it.
Have her agent read the script then.
Alright, now it's time to introduce our main bad guy of the film, Alameda Slim.
He's one of the more lackluster Disney villains, if you ask me.
Yeah, like I said, he's one of the better things in this movie, but he's one of the weakest Disney villains there be.
Yeah, being one of the best things about this movie is not really an accomplishment, so... So this was your plan, just to ram into his ass. Okay, good job, good plan.
By the way, that is literally reused animation from earlier that was flickered in and out. You cannot fool me.
Oh yeah, now it's a musical. See, up until now the songs have been, the Brother Bear Tarzan style, but now all of a sudden now we have a musical number. So which is it, guys? Are you making a musical or not?
Well, a villain song, that's why.
Okay, yeah, true, villain song. Also, here's the weird thing. The first song, the second song was yep.
So the movie has gotten high on itself. Okay.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize, but the film has unfortunately gone completely bonkers. Please stand by until things stabilize. okay, so now that the movie's on complete, fuckery and going nowhere, I think we might as well just. So
Whoa!
So sure, how's the weather up there? Like, I mean.
It's boiling here, and I hate it.
Yeah, same. It's
okay. Let's actually bring focus back to the movie here. Again, an interesting bout of animation here and there. The problem with the scene is, holy cow, is this way trippy. Feel sorry for anyone who gets bit. But interestingly enough, Grace here is not hypnotized by Almeida Slim's yodeling.
Because she's done deaf, yeah.
So he has hypnotic yodeling.
He's like the Pied Piper of cows?
Yeah, well, hey, yeah, I probably should mention, while this was originally supposed to be a Pied Piper plot, apparently some things...
He mentioned Pied Piper in the lyrics just then.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like they're trying to make their own version of their own equivalent of the pink elephant Dumbo scene, but you don't really. But that's not really tied to the style that you went with. That's 40s Disney, not 50s Disney. Get your Disney movies right, directors.
Honestly, okay, look, I don't necessarily mind the scene again. Maybe if this were in a better movie, it would suffice. But as far as the movie goes, it's just wasting valuable time. But
what other Disney movies came out in 2000 aside from this and The Incredibles?
Well, there were direct-to-Disney video sequels, but as far as of note under Disney...
Anyway, I found the... Okay, I won't say every movie, I'll just mention the more famous ones. All those Teacher's Pet, the movie, but... there's The Incredibles, as I mentioned earlier.
Much better.
Range. Lion King 3.
Good.
Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, the Three Musketeers.
Love that movie.
Twice Upon a Christmas.
Have not gotten around to seeing that.
That was the CGI sequel to the original hand-drawn one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh God, no. Then sorry.
Teacher's Pet the movie.
Huh?
It's cheap CGI animation, Jova. Picture that. Go ahead.
And there's Teacher's Pet the movie, Howl's Moving Castle.
I love that movie.
And The Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement.
That movie was nice. Okay, so wait, Princess Diaries 2?
Yeah.
Ooh, never mind.
Oh, and The Village came out that year as well.
Oh, great.
Quite an interesting year for Disney.
Well, actually, Village was Disney?
Yeah, remember, Disney were the ones spending the...
Oh, yeah, because it was like, God, what's the name?
Touchstone and...
Yeah, Touchstone, Touchstone Pictures, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's exactly. Yes, see what I mean. This is exactly the problem. The comedic timing is off on, and even when they try to do verbal jokes, it's always just it's just Roseanne Barr being sassy because she's Roseanne Barr, and that's basically what this humor amounts to, just general sassiness with no wit.
I will say this, even though she's supposed to be the dumb one, Jennifer Tilly's character is arguably one of the more likable, probably the most likable out of the three main characters, too.
I guess. See, here's the thing with Buck. Like, he's animated funny. He's foiled by a great voice actor, but he's given such bad lines.
He's trying his best.
Well, to be fair, Pedro, everyone's given bad lines.
Okay, the best way to describe Buck, he feels like a watered down... Well, again, he feels like the mixture of every character who starts out as a jerk, but then later becomes better.
Shiroi, someone needs to go on Twitter and start the #YouCanSayNo movement. So, to see if actors realize that you can no is an option,
Actually, I argue that there's a bit of complications with a cow castling a cattle rustler.
It's like,
Joe,
see,
don't bother questioning this.
the reason I hate movies like these is, like Joel was implying earlier, like movies like these give other movies like Hercules a bad name because, you know, there's nothing wrong, unlike what some people would have you believe, there's nothing wrong with Disney making a movie that's just a straight up comedy. Not every movie needs to be a super duper moving story. You can make comedies.
Hercules was more funnier than this.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah. Hercules is a good comedy, but the problem is that when it comes to movies
ha,
like these,
Big Mike Donald.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. We gotta go over our villain's motivations.
Oh, great. Let's see.
Yeah. And as far as I know, Ron Clements and John Musker don't tell their critics to go fuck themselves. Oh boy.
Yeah, this joke is this joke was 50 years old when you used it.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know if this is supposed to be okay. It's a comedy, so I guess everyone's the comic relief, but still.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's no straight man in this movie. Everybody's the funny man.
Well, I guess the straight man's supposed to be Judi Dench.
Okay, point for one good line.
So what do?
Yeah, the yodeling. That's it. That's the term that I was looking for. Yeah, most of the songs use the yodel style, which is perfectly appropriate for this movie. So I'm okay with that.
Like, the soundtrack is definitely not a problem of this movie.
No. And even then, considering the movie he has to work with, I don't really blame Alan, to be honest.
So, Randy Quaid plays a cattle rustling con artist and thief. Oh boy, is that a yikes, considering what happened to him and his wife in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Who, Randy Quaid?
Yeah, let's just say he's had been on the bad side of some illegal acts going on that he was the victim of in Hollywood. Nowadays, he's retired from Hollywood, probably for a better state of mind, honestly. God, this movie is awkward in hindsight on a lot of things.
Yeah, this movie was bad when it came out, and it aged like sour milk for reasons, for reasons outside of its control, admittingly, but still.
Yeah, this movie came out 16 years ago.
Oh, look, hold on, we're supposed to have a dramatic moment now.
We are.
But then, well, there's dramatic music playing, so...
Yeah, but that's the thing. Most of this movie up to this point has been a wacky Western comedy. Oh, hang on, wait a minute. This is a Western. The Lone Ranger that came out 9 years later is also a Western.
And was a better movie than this.
Both bombed at the box office. So I guess the moral of the story is...
No! God, that is the kind of thinking that makes Disney often act rather lazy here. When they just blame it, oh, Westerns have to be the problem, instead of actually focusing on the fact that, you know, Lone Ranger was...
Well, just Disney, not anyone else. I mean, Tarantino's still doing Westerns.
Exactly. The problem is that Disney took Lone Ranger's bombing to think that, oh, we should never try Westerns again, so, which further homogenized their entire pool of movies here and there, and led to them trying less new things and just retreading the new stuff here and there. Yes, Lone Ranger was a bomb, but Disney didn't actually study a lot of why it was a bomb. They just assumed that, oh, Westerns are dead, and abandoned the genre here. Ignoring, you know, the fact that there was terrible marketing for that movie.
Buy one, get free. Wait. Buy one, get free. You are aware
that sounds like a terrible deal.
Exactly. You are aware that that's not going to benefit you in any possible way, right?
Don't you get it? Don't you get it?
One free, fair enough, but free?
Don't you see the idea is that, you know, they're that desperate?
But I know, but that joke still doesn't make it. But yeah, but that kind of joke will only make sense if the deal is logical. With that, it's just dumb.
It's not supposed to be logical, I think, is the point. They really are that screwed.
No, I know, sure, but here's the thing. Jokes have an inner logic. There's a science to creating a joke. It's not just, wackiness for the sake of wackiness. There's a logic to building a joke. And that joke completely ignores the basic structure of how a joke is supposed to work.
I honestly think the joke is rather simple. They're that desperate. Like, that's it. That's the joke.
I mean, the joke is probably still bad. Like, nobody's saying that. It's just, we get it.
Okay,
it's just
we're halfway through the movie, at least.
I was hoping we were more for the movie.
See, this is the problem. This movie's boring because the plot is so paper thin.
And the jokes aren't funny.
The best action we've gotten was with Buck, and he is not the main character, sadly. So, yeah.
Hell, Hercules had a more engaging story because it actually had a proper, more hero's journey type of deal. That actually, okay, you know what the stakes are. You know what can happen. What will happen if he doesn't. That's it.
Take the Greek myth and make a comedy out of it.
Not just that, Webs. Like, even if you take the hero's journey arc that Herc is supposed to go through, it's by no means Shakespeare, but it works. It completely functions. Like, it's just, okay, and yeah, now we're in this. It's like, okay, like, what the hell?
This is a flash flood. Those tend to happen in the desert.
Whatever.
Oh, Maggie's not gonna make it. What shall we do?
It's a good fit. Okay, how the hell can a cow swim?
You see, Pedro, shut up.
Let me check.
Stop being an annoying douche, Nelson, Pedro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't their body be too heavy?
Actually, Pedro, turns out cows are strong swimmers, so that actually does work.
Yeah.
Huh.
I was just about to look it up myself.
Stop being so abrasive.
Apparently, cows can swim like 100 meters across a lake just to graze at a pasture.
Interesting. Wait, until you came along? What do you mean?
It's that iconic time in the movie where we gotta have a fallout between the main characters.
Wait.
I wonder if this is how the conversation that the executives had when they fired Roseanne Barr.
Ah, yes. Okay. You know what this is, right, Shiroi? This is the typical executive mandated formula. Okay, we know that in the middle of the movie there has to be a point where the characters have an argument that will eventually get patched up. So they put it here. There's no actual context that makes sense for this moment to be here. It's just here because they know the formula demands it.
This is... Oh, go on, Shiroi.
I was about to say, it's like she's having a go at her, but she didn't really do anything
exactly.
wrong.
What does her
like
being
at
a
all?
show cow? What does her being a show cow has to do with what's happening to the farm? Oh wait, guys, another dramatic moment. Yes.
Okay. This song is actually a pretty good one. This song is "Will the Sun Ever Shine Again?" In fact, Alan Menken actually stated for the record that he wrote the song to reflect on his thoughts of the 9/11 tragedies and the war on terror. So this song came from a very passionate place. Sucks that it's in this movie.
I was about to say.
Not just that. Okay, how about this, Will? I will not call you lazy since you don't like that, but I will call you dumb because, okay, you can't have half the movie be this completely whack job comedy and then the other half be suddenly change into a more downer type of a movie. It's called inconsistent tone. I don't know if you've heard of it, Will. Sorry.
Like,
we entered into a completely different movie now.
This is very much the culmination of any issues people have with Hercules. Like, whereas Hercules may have been your mileage may vary at worst, this one is definitely the culmination of the problems with having an overtly comedic film with these serious moments tacked in here and there.
I don't know. Like
Again. Now. Let me repeat. I'm not saying that Hercules was necessarily guilty of that. I can see why some people would have had that mindset of it. What I'm saying is that this film is the culmination of those kinds of issues, though. It does not balance the tone well in the slightest.
Yeah,
I know the Greeks certainly didn't like that film.
It boils down to that you were saying about the whole, they stopped trying, but they don't realize what actually caused the movie to flop, like you said. This is the problem, not just with Disney. This is the problem with a lot of companies in the entertainment industry, where they're so fucking tone deaf and completely lack understanding of nuance. Like a good example of this is, for example, Sonic Team. Oh, Sonic 06 bomb. That means we should never make a Sonic Adventure style game ever again. Like same thing with Nintendo. Oh.
Metroid Other M didn't do very well.
This means we should never try to make a non-Metroid Prime, game ever again.
Thankfully, they grew out of that mentality, and we got Samus Returns.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, at least with Nintendo are at the very least willing to give their teams the time that they need to proper flourish in there. Disney do not always give their filmmakers that luxury. So, of course, when a film doesn't do as well as they'd hoped, they never really analyze to think, maybe we should have treated the filmmakers a bit better or given them more time needed here and there. That's not to say that that is always solely the issue, but holy cow, Disney really do not learn here and there. And it shows because they keep on doing, oh, hold on, might as well pay mind to this character. He is actually legit one of the few nice people in this movie. This is Lucky Jack, a rabbit who is not that lucky.
Get it? He's a rabbit. Get it? He's a rabbit, but he's unlucky. That's the joke.
That said, I will give this movie credit. They don't pretty much blow it up right in your face overall. Like, they actually do rely more on the visual humor for that rather than just stating it outright as well.
Well, thank God for that, I guess.
Yeah, I think maybe this is part of it.
He's voiced, Lucky Jack, he's voiced by Charles Hayde. Who was in The Great Escape 2.
For the regardless, like, okay. Another tip, Will. If you want dramatic moments to have weight, you need to actually, do that pesky little thing called character development. Fleshing out your characters to make them, to make the audience actually care about them, which you haven't, like, at all.
We know their surface level personalities and that's it. They met and they've gone on this journey and the rest of it has just been antics.
Wow, there sure seem to be a lot of signs of Alameda Slim just conveniently placed around for the movie.
That's a page over. He's so forgettable they have to put the posters around so people remember who he is.
Which is, okay, Alameda Slim does have an interesting idea, steal cattle from the farms that he used to work for, then sell the cattle off, and then buy up the property from the farmers. An interestingly incompetent enough plan here and there. That's just the thing, though. I mean, it's kind of just that in a tin can. Not much is done with the villain's personality. He is arguably a competent villain, until the heroes make fools out of him, but he has, like, a big front of a personality, but not an actual personality.
I'd also like to point out something real quick. Have our characters ever thought about the fact that, they could bring this guy in, but who's going to give a bunch of cows money?
Don't you see, Shiroi? They think that they're people.
Cows are people.
We've heard this song already.
Cows are people too.
Well, this is kind of a reprise, but yeah, it's kind of a bit of an off sign where you already.
It's not even that good of a song, if I'm honest. It's just generic Wild West music.
It is kind of a bit of an iffy sign when you have to reprise your song already. Like, jeez, Christ, we're only.
I mean, at the end of the movie, I guess, but we're still in the middle of it.
We're only 48 minutes into this movie, and we're already nearing the climax territory. I mean, granted, I know that Disney movies of old weren't the longest here and there. It's just that, well, when you get down to it, let's see, we've had, like, one actual confrontation with the heroes between the bad guy. Pretty much.
Even just that. It's like I've said, Jova. It's not even. Remember, this particular type of scenario and style that they're going with was used back in the 50s for the purpose of shorts, not movies. It makes no sense to try to extend something like this into a movie.
Oh, hey, Steve Buscemi.
Like, for example, in better news, I guess.
Oh wait, I love this joke. So he calls him Mr. Weasley, but it's actually Wesley. That's right. You remember the Weaselton and Wesselton joke? That technically originated from this movie.
So basically, if this movie had been made a few years later, this character would have been voiced by Alan Tudyk.
Probably. Instead, he's voiced by.
Unfortunately, I don't think even Alan Tudyk could have made this guy.
Instead, this guy is voiced by Steve Buscemi. Pretty good voice actor. Ha! Stallion of a sim moron. Get it? It's Disney taking potshots at DreamWorks' spirit. Stallion of a Cimarron.
Yes, of course. Brilliant.
So what's the name of this count? So
It's funny because he's a gentleman, I guess. I don't.
He is
Junior, you say?
Yeah, he is a water buffalo.
Yeah, he's voiced by Lance Legault.
So basically,
Unfortunately, he died 8 years ago, but he's done a lot of voice work.
So basically, this is a very discriminatory place where only cows can come in.
Well, okay, Junior considers the whole thing essentially just a job here and there. Obviously, anyone who's not a cow could be an intruder trying to, you know, rain on his master's parade.
Oh, in the meantime, what's her name again? Molly? What's the cow's name? Roseanne Barr is a dick.
Maggie.
Maggie, that's it. Maggie's a dick. I mean, you could have gave Buck a hand or something. Just saying. Whatever.
Don't you see? Buck was a dick, so let's kick him while he's down.
Oh yeah, of course.
Honestly, like I said, Buck ends up accomplishing more in this movie than any of the main characters do. Oh, it's to the point where he's actually the main playable character in the video game based off of this, which, mind you, was better than the actual movie.
Didn't Home on the Range? Home on the Range didn't get a Kingdom thing.
What?
No.
Didn't get a what now?
A Kingdom Hearts world, he asked.
No.
Or any form of representation.
No, but Chicken Little did.
Well, to be fair, it was only a summon. You don't even have to use it if you don't want to.
Well, yeah. Oh wait, this bit. So this horse is named Patrick. And he's voiced by Patrick Warburton.
Yes.
So between this and Krog's New Groove the following year.
This is yet another actor that should learn that no is an option.
To his credit...
And again, Patrick Warburton was in Hoodwinked. The following
well, Patrick Warburton was in everything.
He's even in series of Unfortunate Events.
Patrick Warburton is the John Goodman of animation. Like, he's in every animated film.
Uh-oh.
Ugh. He first came to fame in his role as Putty in Seinfeld.
Just put it all in and wait till you get to your destination.
Well, to be fair, Droops, he wants to count to make sure that it's all there.
Ugh. Do something, movie! Wake up! Wake up for life! God damn it!
Pedro, you're being abrasive again.
I'm being abrasive. All I'm asking is for the movie to wake up. How's that being abrasive? Oh, you make me think a jab at Will. Okay.
Whatever.
Well, if he's gonna say something incredibly stupid, I'm gonna mock the shit out of it.
This movie is a wonderful remedy for insomnia. Like,
that's the thing. I mean, this movie is bad, but
yeah,
it's...
I know. Yeah, this is hands down Disney's best cure for insomnia since Doug's first movie.
Anyway.
Which is really, really bad because I actually had to...
This. Go ahead, Shirei.
I said that's actually really bad because I took a nap before, like, we started this, and I want to go back to sleep.
So, what are we gonna say, Pedro?
I disagree with you, Debs. Doug's first movie was not boring. It was a more like audibly annoying because everybody talks in this high-pitched voice. Like just.
Yeah, but what about when there wasn't any high pitch going?
The movie was just bad.
Yeah, it didn't really make any sense, and it was not funny.
Whereas with this movie, it's bad, but it's not like, you know, astronomically bad. Like, at worst, it's kind of... well, okay, at worst, it's definitely mediocre and boring, yes. But it's not even really classic terrible. Like, hell, I dare say Black Cauldron was more of a misstep than this movie. This movie...
Black Cauldron... I think Black Cauldron had more worse implications for Disney, whereas this film that was the final death blow on their animation division. Black Cauldron nearly killed the whole studio.
Hell, I'll even give it this. Black Cauldron had the laughable aspect of the premise.
Hey, look at that! They included the Goofy scream, which is pretty much Disney's Wilhelm scream.
Good job. They used to scream, everybody. They used it. We can all go home now.
But I'm already home.
I will. Well, sure. In that case, sing the final song from Wizard of Oz.
No.
It's I will give I'll even give Black Cauldron this. It had the laughability factor with the premise being about a fortune-telling pig, and the villain, while boring, looked cool. I don't give a rat's ass about anything in this goddamn movie. Like, seriously, every frame in this bloody thing is boring because I don't give a shit about anything.
Hell,
nothing is funny, nothing is engaging, nothing is nothing.
I think me and Alice watched this once for one of our bad movie runs.
I've seen this. Okay, this is my third time watching it because I swear we've commentated on this before.
Okay, let me just do a bit of a comparison to how does that even work. Let me just do a bit of a comparison of this to Lone Ranger here. See, between this and Lone Ranger actually has a fan base here and there and has garnered a cult following here. Why? Well, as Quentin Tarantino himself put it, who's actually a big fan of the movie, the ending. The ending really does pick things back up. Oh, sure, it has also a good start of the 45 minutes. The main issue is, of course, the midsection here, but for the most part, it's at worst mediocre in the middle here and there, and picks things back up properly for a bombastic finale. This movie has none of those qualities. Absolutely none of those qualities, and makes an absolutely boring Western when you culminate everything.
Was there a Tarantino film that released in 2000?
It's mostly because even when they do slapstick, the comedy timing is so off. Like, seriously, the slapstick doesn't hit. Like, watch a Tom and Jerry cartoon from the 40s and compare it to the comedic timing in this. It's night and day.
Oh, Kill Bill. Well, there was a Tarantino movie that released in 2004.
Which one was it again?
Kill Bill Volume 2.
Oh God, I hate that movie.
I'm not big on it either. Either volume, to be honest.
Oh snap! It turns out Rico was actually in cahoots with Alameda Slim.
Ugh.
So, let me talk about this twist here and there. One, we did not really get to know Rico that much, so don't really care that much. Two, Rico is... What?
Okay. That close-up of his... Thank you for that close-up of his mustache. That was incredible. That was what held the entire story together. Like, well, go ahead, Jova.
So yeah, it turns out Rico the badass bounty hunter is actually in cahoots with Alameda Slim and has been helping keep the law off his side here and there. Which, of course, is a big downer to Buck.
Oh no, Rico now may be having second thoughts about his owner.
What? No. Rico's the bounty hunter. Buck's the horse.
Sorry, Buck. I switched. Yeah, these characters are so memorable, Jovi. Can you blame me?
And now it's time for Buck's arc to finally make its shifting turn.
Seriously, these characters might as well be big blobs, big neutral white blobs going around. They're so featureless. Ugh. Yeah, gee. I must be psychic.
What?
Well, the characters became blobs.
Never mind. Don't worry. It's fine.
Well, actually, that'll be more interesting. You know, I wonder how many cinemas that showed this film had to scrape up people from their seats because they fell asleep watching it.
Oh, God.
I didn't know this had a theater release, at least I don't remember.
It did.
We talked about this at the beginning of the year, right? It was the last animated film for them to release in theaters and drawn before Princess and the Frog.
Oh, sure.
Oh, God.
Wow, that's a bit of a time skip, isn't it? Like, when did this come out?
2004.
Princess and the Frog?
2009.
Princess and the Frog was 2009.
Oh, wow, yeah, quite a bit of a...
5 years after this, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
God. At least Brother Bear functioned as a movie. For Christ's sake.
And I'd happily, like, I haven't watched it for a long time, but I'd happily go back to watch that again.
Oh, yeah. Over this, Brother Bear had actual soul to it.
Like, it's not an amazing movie by any means, but it's something I would choose to sit through.
Hell, I'd rather listen to the song. I'd rather listen to the songs in that movie.
Oh, so now you're thinking about the logistics of a cow doing something you didn't seem to think about much for the money, like Shiroi suggested earlier. Why is this a problem now?
I'm surprised none of the instrument performers in the orchestra fell asleep while recording the music.
Yeah,
well, watching the movie while they were recording. So.
Oh no, remember, Pedro, when you score to the movie, you've got like at least for a film like this, you have like the storyboards to score to or something.
Okay. Let's not go that far per se. Like, actually recording the music does require a lot of concentration. There'd be absolutely no business in them falling asleep.
There's that too, yeah.
Also, let's not forget, Dweebs, actually making a movie probably takes a lot more investment than actually watching the movie, to be fair. Don't get me wrong, this movie is definitely boring, but I would not... Oh, God, here we go. I would not necessarily attribute it to this or that. Again, Buck really does do more than the actual main characters in this movie.
You know, well, I will say, I will also tell you this. All the hard work in the world is for naught if you can't actually put all that hard work to good use. Doesn't matter how much you polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Yancey Odell. Get it?
Yeah.
Yodel.
This is the part,
Yodeling.
Joy, where you're supposed to laugh.
No.
Oh no! How will I cope without Patch of Heaven?
And hey, Jova, this film also has a train scene at the end.
Again, unlike Lone Ranger, it's
Not great.
yeah.
But remember, Pedro, in these kinds of movies, he's gonna take like 10 minutes to sign the contract.
Of course.
Like, it's right there, he's holding it, but we're gonna draw this out.
That's not how it works. But whatever.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't mean
And he's
you.
gonna write, yep, we're gonna write very slowly.
Actually, because because he put ink to call the contract. Apparently,
You can't hear that.
the farm now belongs to Blob.
You
I mean,
really
who else
want
signs
that
a contract like that?
Calendar?
Thank you for... Okay, never mind. I guess I shouldn't be like that because Con Chicken does that as well, so...
Okay. Oh snap, he has a gun!
This feels like one of those, you know, Disney knockoff movies from the 90s.
So basically, any Don Bluth sequel movie. So, yeah, direct to DVD one.
Well, he only made one of those himself, but yeah.
I know what I mean is like anyone that was based off one of his movies.
Sure. Okay, great.
Could you imagine if they tried to do a live action remake of this?
This was 2004, so it was still cool to do the bullet time thing.
Honestly, a live action remake might actually be an improvement. It's sort of like Black Cauldron.
Hey, Joe, maybe we should get Jon Favreau to remake this movie with ultra-realistic looking cows.
You know...
No.
So, okay, so since obviously the cows can't do jack squat with the money, he's giving it to her instead.
Actually, Pedro,
Yes, sure.
how about, even though they probably don't do that, how about you have the Earthworm Jim creators make this movie?
No.
It has cows in it.
No, Doug and David do a great job with a premise like this, but yeah.
They don't do movies.
So I was around this point.
Well, they made the cartoon. They were executive producers on that.
Movies
Plus around this point, Doug Langdale was busy wrapping up Weekenders and getting to work on Dave the Barbarian.
Yeah. I have very good news for you, though. The movie's almost over.
Yay!
Just fuck off and end movie. You're a cow. You always... Oh, actually, no, never mind. I'm thinking of horses. God.
How nice.
Oh, look at that. They won the state fair, so more money for the farm as well.
Brilliant.
So what happens if it runs out of money next?
Simple. The three cows will go on a journey to catch another criminal.
Oh god, it's just gonna be this movie on this loop, isn't it? It's just gonna go round in circles.
And now this buffalo is here because why not? Like,
Last
sure.
minute romance?
Who cares? The movie's almost over. It's just. What?
I don't care.
On my copy, there's still 12 minutes.
Maybe it's
Well-
language stuff. I don't know.
Yes, Disney Plus is trying to keep you on that hook for as long as it can.
I just gotta have to pay for this.
And there you go.
And
An
there you go.
entire.
There you go. There's our excuse to have the word cock in this movie. So
There you go. An entire era of Disney animation suddenly flushed down the toilet. Again, like I said, this movie is not necessarily the sole reason that Disney stopped doing it, but it is definitely a catalyst of the sort. Well, okay, not so much a catalyst, but it is a symptom of the sort. And unfortunately, because this
came
movie
out, Disney was already planning on ending it anyway. So it's not this. It was more like a result of things that have been going on for years at this point.
pretty much, yeah. Like I have said, though, I'm so sick of Disney, again, constantly placing the blame here and there, but not taking responsibility themselves, again. It has even gone into the modern ages later on. Oh, hey, Winnie the Pooh 2011 failed against Harry Potter? Well, I guess that means we should shunt off our 2D animation yet again. Oh, Star Wars The Last Jedi didn't do as good as Force Awakens? Let's just call everyone who doesn't like it sexist or a pig. Oh, Captain Marvel turns out to not be getting that good reception? Well, let's throw those people under the bus and let our employees make fun of them. Ha ha ha. I can't wait to see them try and, do damage control for Mulan 2020.
Oh, that's going super well.
Honestly, I'd rather watch that film.
No, I'm going to give it this. I find this movie to be better than the Mulan 2020 remake.
At least that film had the funny Matrix stuff.
Nope.
This movie's shorter. There you go, Debs. I can already tell you. This movie's shorter.
Let's agree to disagree and get back to
we've had this conversation a few times.
So
ripping this film apart. Well, it's over now. But can I go first?
Yeah, go first with your final thoughts, Dibs.
The animation's nice. The music's okay. That's about it. For nice things I can say about it. I probably should have ended it with that's the nice thing I can say because it would have rhymed. But whatever. Everything else, the story is boring. The comedy is not funny. Roseanne Barr's in it.
Again, guys, imagine one day it's Kingdom Hearts 27 and Disney have finally scraped the bottom of the barrel, and then this world shows up in the game.
I'd be sad if they used Home on the Range before some of their other properties like
Treasure Planet,
Star Wars, Die Hard.
Treasure Planet, Lone Ranger, Pirates.
Well, I can't speak for Treasure Planet, but
it's a good movie.
Oh yeah, hell, even some of their cartoons like Recess or even Dog even. I mean, what else is there to say? It's one of those in one ear and out the other movies. There's nothing really that memorable about it. And it's being led by two directors who don't know the meaning of the word professionalism, which is always a good sign.
Yay!
Because rather than just ignore something you see as being unfunny and abrasive, this shouldn't be worth your time. Instead, you go out of your way to insult the guy, making yourselves look worse.
Anything else?
Nah, that's it. This movie sucks, and so does the poor professionalism on the part of the directors, and that's about it.
Duly noted. Sure, you go next.
All right. Well, that was boring. I mean, I will say, like, animation, fine. Music, fine. I mean, none of that is really bad, but it's pretty, it's on, the lesser end of the Disney scale, I should say.
Uh-huh.
But the rest of it is just, well, and the acting's good. But they had poor dialogue to work with, but I can't fault them because at least everyone sounds like they're trying.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's that. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the movie was as short as it was anyway, and it still felt like a drag. We barely know anything about our cast. Again, surface level traits. And then plot. And, this kind of plot is in better movies. Oh.
Yeah. Again, when you get down to it, if anything, Buck accomplished more than any of the main heroines did.
Like, this is like that movie you switch on to keep the children quiet, it's like...
Yeah.
It's just there. I mean, there are Disney movies that like if they showed up on the TV, there are some. It's like I don't really care for this, but I'll watch it anyway. This is a hard skip. Like I'm not watching this. If I had the choice, I'm not watching this. So
I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's it. It's just not. It's not a good time at all.
Well said.
Who's next?
Pedro.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Are those your final thoughts?
No. Well, not entirely, but okay, like I said, the animation does a good job in replicating the look of 1950s Disney. And that's cool. But goddamn, some things should remain in the fucking 50s. Like, it's just... Okay. It's just so... boring. It's boring because of very simple reasons. One, the premise and plot are paper fucking thin. So thin. And they don't do anything. It's literally a point A to point B type of movie that follows a very basic formula. It even has the midpoint characters have an argument that gets immediately resolved because the chart says it's supposed to be in there.
Oh, but don't you see, Mrs. Calloway hates Maggie because show cow. Ooh, how most unorthodox.
It's kind of like, you were bringing up the Nostalgia Critic review of this movie. It reminded me of his review of Suicide Squad that talks about how, never mind, all of you villains are now supposed to go to the bar and puss out. But wait a minute, we're the villains. We don't have heart-to-heart conversations. No, but the chart says we're supposed to have a heart-to-heart conversation at this point of the story. Okay, fine, let's go and feel miserable, I guess. That's exactly what happened here as well. They only put that fucking scene in because it's in the chart. The chart said it's
formulaic. It's like it's there. You gotta have it.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it makes any sense or not. Oh man. And for the record, Will, that's lazy. Oops, did I just say that? Yeah, for the record, Will, that's the result of laziness. Just saying. Just saying. But I'm just an ignorant douche nozzle, so do I know, right? But yeah. Here's why the movie's boring. The plot, like I said, if it were fan, the comedic writing is bad. There's like one funny line in this entire goddamn movie. One funny line, and that's it. And it's such a quick line that it practically might not even be there. It does nothing in the grand scheme of things. the comedic timing of the slapstick is completely off. Completely off. Holy Jesus. Like, it doesn't, like, there's so much slapstick in this movie, but none of it is funny because the animation doesn't get slapstick. Hell, okay, fine. Here's the Disney, you want the Disney example instead of a Tom and Jerry? Here, watch Peter Pan, the original Peter Pan movie by Disney. That movie has fantastic slapstick comedy with Captain Hook and the crocodile.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like, it's just, oh God. The slapstick in this movie, however, sucks so bad. The voice acting is fine considering the circumstances. I guess it could have been worse, but goddamn, like, just ugh. The what else? The freaking music is fine. It works for what it, and considering the circumstances, I can't blame Alan and Glenn Slater for not really, you know, busting out amazing work because, you know, I mean, look at this. I mean, it's kind of, it did much better with the Tangled franchise. Just so watch that instead if you want some good stuff from them.
Yes, that's a lovely series.
I was talking about the franchise in general because remember they also did the songs for the movie. So I remember they were the only two from the original film. Well, them and Clara Keene, but that's a topic for the generations, I guess. Yeah, the writing is bad and because the characters have zero development. These are not characters; they're archetypes, and they're just so boring. It's just nothing but these boring characters and don't give a shit about doing bad slapstick. Very few things are as boring as that. You don't care about anything. You don't care about the comedy. You don't care about the characters. You don't care about anything. And as a result, you're just watching things move. This is literally the equivalent of jingling keys to a toddler in front of a toddler's face. Like it's like, hey, here's the keys. Here's the keys. Like, oh, God, this is boring as all hell. It's really bad. No, it's bad. No, don't even try to come and tell me that this is like a misunderstood. No, Treasure Planet is a misunderstood classic. This is crap. Go ahead, Jova.
Oh boy. Well, folks, I'll just say this. If you want an actual good Western from Disney, you would have to wait for about 9 years for after this movie with Lone Ranger. This movie, on the other hand, well, okay, this is the kind of movie where I can see that, yes, there was hard work put into it. The problem is that the project did not pan out. How much of that is to blame on Disney and how much that is to blame on just the ideas not working is up in the air. Both were definitely culprits here and there still. That said, though, yeah, a lot of it is like, well, there are some ideas here. But, yeah, pretty much 99% of those ideas do not pan out well here and there. Let's start with the basics here. Our main heroines are essentially the Hecate sisters here and there, the iconic trio of female protagonists. And yet, the only one that's truly likable out of them is really Grace. That said, Maggie isn't too bad, though she does get too full of herself occasionally here and there. But, man, Mrs. Calloway is... well, she's the right cow, to say the least, to Maggie, at the very least. I mean, holy cow, I mean, what is up with this whole, oh, she's a show cow, I despise show cows here and there, like, never gives any good reason for that whatsoever. If your character conflict does not have good foundations, you don't have any business really hosting it. In that case, it's just a time waster here and there. Let's see, now for stuff that did pan out well enough, Alan Menken's score here. It does a relatively good job in getting about that Western feel here and there. Granted, I still prefer Hans Zimmer's score in The Lone Ranger, but Alan Menken was definitely giving it his all, especially with the songs as well. I could definitely tell that they did come from the heart, even if some of them kind of had to be reused or reprised a bit sooner and more than you would normally feel comfortable with. The animation is pretty good, and for the Western style, works pretty well here and there. If only if it were in a better movie here and there. So let's talk about the story here. The pacing is bullet speed at a lot of stuff. We barely get to know so much our main protagonist until she's shunted off to Little Patch of Heaven, and we barely get to know Little Patch of Heaven and its owner before our three main heroines are heading off to town, and we barely get to town before we head off to the part where we finally get to Alameda Slim, and you get where I'm going here? Stuff zooms by. Holy cow. It moves faster than the Sonic movie, for crying out loud, buzzing. Yeah, and we don't really get much time to absorb stuff here and there. By God, the villain. They are trying, but failing with the villain. His song is arguably the most memorable of the songs, since it's mainly yodeling here and there. And the problem is, like, well, he has so little screen time to leave enough of an impact on us. He doesn't have the charisma of other Disney villains, nor necessarily the threat level. Oh yeah, he can be threatening, and he has the smart idea to pull a gun on the animals. Doesn't fire it, mind you, but I digress. But yeah, he's one of the better things of this movie, but like Pedro said, being one of the best things of this movie is far
Not
from
really an accomplishment.
it's far from a saving grace per se here and there. The voice actors are definitely giving it their all, though. I will give them that. They all do sound like they're trying. Like I said, Buck feels like he should have been the main character of this movie. And apparently the game devs agreed too, because the game based off of this has him being the main playable character. He accomplishes pretty much more than the actual main heroines do. And that does present a bit of a problem there, now don't it? Jesus Christ. I think that's pretty much it. Overall, this movie could have maybe been good, but in the end, it just turned out to be a failure in some of the worst ways. Disney rushed it, so it didn't have the proper time to cook in the oven. The team did not perform that well under the pressure, so unfortunately they made a lot, and I do mean a lot of heavy mistakes along the way here and there. The film bombed, and thus this movie became the target for blame of supposedly killing off the hand-drawn animation cycle from Disney. Again, not its fault, but I can see why people would have blamed it. Sadly, this was quite a terrible way to mark things off as a tail end here and there. And unless you count the Disney direct-to-video sequels, which, let's say, range in quality every now and then, it was kind of sad for people who were fans of a 2D hand-drawn animation cycle, which Disney thought was, not that profitable, which Claus thankfully proved them dead wrong about. Oh, boy. That was Home on the Range, folks. Next up would come Chicken Little, which is way, way worse than this movie.
Basically, everybody, Chicken Little is the polar opposite of this movie. Whereas this movie is mind-numbingly boring, Chicken Little is mad, annoying to the point of madness.
That, and everyone is literally a jerk in that movie except for 3 characters.
So let's pick a poison. Do you want to be bored to tears, or do you want to be annoyed to death?
I'd rather be bored.
Well, in that case, yeah, you'll probably like this movie better than Chicken Little. See you next time, folks.
Oh boy.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.